Hi, my name is Leonard Walker, and this video is in response to Brother Jeremiah Wrong. I watched your short film and just wanted to share my experience um, because my experience is very similar to yours as far as custody of your son. Um, I went through a similar situation with my son and his mother. We were not married. We never got divorced, but we had a child together. And my son was diagnosed with ADHD and was having trouble in school. And with patience and with sacrifice and with some reasoning, I was able to get custody of my son, and I raised my son from third grade on. He's 21 years old now. Just want to say, be encouraged, brother, because there are some things that I learned about our children, period, that can be very helpful. First and foremost, okay, understand that there is a conspiracy within the education system to label our young men, our boys, with ADHD. Okay. Um, I took my son. I paid $900 to take my son to the University of North Carolina Institute of Child Development to have him tested. The schools were trying to say he had a mild form of autism called Asperger's um, because of some of his learning patterns, some of his behavior patterns. Okay, and when I took my son to the institute, what I found out is that basically he didn't have a learning disability. He did not have autism. He did not have ADHD. What it boiled down to is that in a child, children's brains develop differently. Um, my aunt, who was a teacher for 20 years, told me the best method to teach a child because children's brains develop. The rear of the brain develops first before the front of the brain. The rear of the brain is what controls motor skills, motor functions, these sorts of things. Front of the brain is what develops critical thinking. Okay, um, it is said, reason why the age 18 is called the age of wisdom is because that is the age in which the brain is fully developed. Okay, so knowing this, if we're dealing with schools that what they call front load learning, meaning that they're giving children more critical learning types of lesson plans, many children won't take to this. Now, I'll tell you something, this is not just common of African American children, okay? Have lots of children, okay, of all races that deal with this type of issue because it is not something that is not normal. All right? Children learn differently. This is why it is best to what they call rear load a children, which you teach a children from the back of the brain forward, meaning you give them exercises through song, through dance, through hands-on, things like that. This sort of methodology works because this is how a child is able to understand and able to relate to things that may be more complex for them to understand. Um, and that works. Um, my son went from, like I said, after we had him tested, he was in special education, all right, for a while. And after we had him tested, took him off the medication, and we just did some learning exercises with him. He had what you call active memory loss. He could do something, and a few minutes later, forget about what he did. That's not uncommon for children. A child's brain is developing. When a child's brain is developing, you know, there are a number of things. Now, of course, there are benchmarks that you look for in a child to say at this age they should be able to do this age they should be able to do that. That's true, but there's not an exact cookie cutter science, all right, that says, okay, well, you know, now you know if a child has a mental handicap, okay, serious mental handicap, then yeah, okay. But they want to try to label our young men slow. They want to try to label our young men of having opposition defiance disorder, where they defy authority, because from the public school system, the next step for our young men is the prison system. Okay, you see it, I see it too much. Okay, all right. So, and all of this is to render our young men non-competitive. Um, I've seen in your video where the pastor was saying, you know, at the turn of the century, 50 years after slavery, 90% of the African American families had two parents, fathers in the homes. Now it's not that way. That is because there's a systematic, there's been a systematic plan to take fathers to break up our families, because the family is the core of any successful group of people. Okay, all right. You know, we can get into that later. Right now, we're going to talk about what we got, what you need to do as far as getting your son. Stay in there, even if the mother of your child does not want to give up custody, and you know that's an ugly situation sometimes. Still maintain and stay in contact with them. Don't don't be so hard if the child can't learn at a rate that other children learn at, because children learn differently. Like I said, this is what I learned from Child Development Institute, and that's not uncommon. Maybe you have to get him tested outside of the school system, because that's another thing, is every child that gets ADHD, that's labeled ADHD or ADD or whatever, the school system gets money for that, okay, for all of the children. They get state funding. All right, so take him outside. You may have to spend some money, like I did. Like I said, me and his mother, both, you know, $4.50 a piece. All right, but this, you know, if it was my child, was it worth it? Absolutely. My son now, okay, he went to college. He still got to finish up. He's doing like most people do. All right. You know, he went from being in special education classes to being in to going on to some honors classes. He graduated cum laude with a 3.2 grade point average from high school. He wrestled in high school. And played football. In his junior and senior year, he made both academic all-conference. This is a person, like I said, who was labeled as having Asperger's, a mild form of autism, and who said that he had a learning disability on academic all-conference, academic all-district, okay, teams, all right, because he was able to play sports and maintain a grade point average. All right, so don't lose hope, brother. Stick with it. Don't get discouraged. Okay. As far as with that child's mother, that depends on the laws of that state. You know, it may take a little bit, but even if you can't get custody, you can still have more visitation. All right. She can't stop you from sitting down with him and saying, okay, even if it's at her house, or even if it's at a neutral place, say, listen, okay, I don't want, you know, maybe the solution is, hey, okay, maybe I just go with him every day, or 3 days, 4 days a week, okay, to you know, go through and we work on homework together. Maybe I go and sit in his classroom, all right? That's what I had to do. I work nights, and I've worked nights for quite a while because it afforded me the ability to be able to go into my son's classroom and spend time with him. That kept my son honest, and it kept his teachers honest as well. Teachers see a father, okay, in the school sitting down the whole day, all right, and I could still go to work at night. I would sacrifice sleep that day, all right, and just go and sit down, have lunch with him, look at his friends, see what's going on in the class. Biggest thing is that those teachers see that you are visible. Okay, they see, all right, maybe I don't live, maybe my son doesn't live with me, but now they know that they can't label him, all right, because that's another thing. One of the things that public education, public schools do, and I'm in North Carolina, one of the practices they do is the very first day of school, they would give the children an assignment to ask what was the latest books that the parents read. Okay, what was it? That was the homework assignment. Ask your parents what was the latest book that they've read. Well, that does, obviously that does several things. That tells the school what the family situation is for that child, and if he's going to be a problem. If there's no father in the home, oh well, there's no father, so this is a young black male with no father. Hey, he's going to be a problem. He's going to have disciplinary problems. He's going to have learning disability problems, and then we'll just see how attentive the mother's going to be. Like I said, it is important throughout his school. When my son was on sports, if he did not maintain the things that I said, the school said he needed a C average, I said he needed a B average, all right, to play sports. And I let his coaches know that. I say, I will pull him from practice. He will not be in games because that's my standard. And the coaches, all right, knew that I didn't play, all right. My son, for the most part, only class he had problems with was Algebra 2, okay. He got a hard D, and he got a D in that class, and I wasn't so hard on him because I understood that this was a class that he just didn't get. I watched him work hard to get a D. He raised his grade up to a C, but I watched him work hard, so I wasn't really that hard on him for getting a bad grade because that was a hard earned. I'd rather for him to get a hard earned D than a slack C. Okay. Like I said, get your son, get him evaluated by somewhere that is not a part of the school system. All right. Document all of that. Keep copies of that. Take that to his school so his teachers, his counselor, his IP assessment person, all of those people can see that your son does not have some sort of deficiency, or they can see what the problem is, and maybe they can structure some sort of learning program that's going to help him, all right, in the areas that he needs help in. Like I said, you just got to understand as a child's brain develops. My son, as he got older, he got better in school. His brain started to develop, things started to click. I stayed on top of him. The way the school structure was, it was, pretty beneficial to him. So, it's not a hopeless situation. It's not a hopeless situation, brother. So, like I said, I'm with you. I feel you. I've been where you've been. Okay. This thing with fathers, yeah. Like I said, make your presence known in that school. All right. Join the PTA in his school. Go to PTA meetings. Be vocal about things. Okay. Meet his teachers when they have the day where they go and not to say that you're not doing all of that already. Okay. I don't know. But if you're not doing those things, okay, and any other brothers just out there that are having these types of situations, take my advice. Like I said, be a part. Okay, he does not. Your children don't live with you. Fine, you can still be a part of their lives. You can still go to their school. You can still go sit down, take some time, say, you know what, I got a day off of work today. I'm gonna go to my kids' school and I'm gonna have lunch with them. Okay, I'm gonna go from first period all the way to lunchtime, and we're gonna have lunch. I'm gonna see their friends. That's another thing too. All right, as kids, nowadays, you're in the class and kids, is that your dad? Is that, hey, that's so and so's dad? Makes your child feel kind of proud. See, so these are things. These are simple things. Just little things. All right. I know we get frustrated. If we had bad situations and bad, like I said, you told me about that email. Well, in the video, you explained the email that your ex sent. That was pretty foul. Okay. Like I said, bro, just hang in there. Just hang in there. You know, things will get better, and you can work your way around. Don't, like I said, is don't be too hard, because like I said, is children learn differently. Okay, we want to always be like, well, you ain't, my child ain't stupid, my child ain't this, my child ain't that. It's not about being stupid. It's about the brain developing. Just keep that in mind. Children's brains develop differently, and it may require some other methods for your child to learn. You may have to go to Sylvan or somewhere like that, or some sort of learning center to give him the help that he needs. All right, in order to, like you said, get his grade GPA up. Sounds like your son is in 7th or 8th grade right now. That's important, because by the time he's a sophomore in high school, he really needs to be thinking about which college he's going to go to. And from 8th grade really on is about preparing him for college. Taking the SAT or the ACT, all of that kind of stuff. So it's not impossible. From 12 to 13, 13 to 14, children grow, at an extreme rate. They develop, fast. It's like, all of a sudden, bam, they've matured, they've developed, and that's mentally, that's physically, that's everything. See, so, don't be discouraged. That's really my message to you, because I seen your video, I was like, this brother is speaking to a situation that I know all too well. Okay, so yeah, definitely, take heed. If, like I say, I'm on Facebook, I will friend you. Okay, that way we can stay in touch with each other. All right, and I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, and like I said, moved by your video. Might just check your book out too. All right, and you keep doing your thing too. All right, peace, brother.